All right, good people. So we need to talk 23 is back. I'm your host, Ringold. And joining me today is as a Giants blogger. When I say Giants, I'm not talking baseball. I'm talking about my hometown team that I've rooted for all my life. We've gone through some tough times, so I figured why not bring on someone that I can sort of vent to and hopefully can sort of talk me off the ledge. Mr. James Farrell, how you doing this morning?
Good, good. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Um, just so before we dive into all of the particulars of our team, can you just, introduce you, Mr. James Farrell? Can you just give, the people an introduction into you and, your background in blogging for or with or blogging for or about the Giants?
Yeah, so I've been blogging about the Giants not that long, since July, so probably like 7, 8 months. For this website called New York City Sports Nation. I just started because I'm a fan. Felt like getting my ideas out there, and I love it. I do two blogs a week. It's fun. People comment. I get into arguments with people. It's a good time. So I love doing it.
So how long have you been a Giants fan?
Since I was born. The I'm 23, so my whole life. The first season I really remember watching though is the '07 year when we beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and since then I've been hooked. So
Great time to start. Great time to
yeah,
start.
absolutely.
Um, so the I don't even know where to start. There's so many things to talk about. So I'll just start with last year. So with the hiring of Joe Judge, what was your feelings when they hired him?
Well, I didn't know who he was like everyone else. I thought that was like the least possible candidate they would hire, special teams coach from New England. But I liked him after that press conference. I always liked his attitude, and I thought after last season we were building something. So I was excited about him this year. But obviously, this year did not go to plan. And that last month of the year was just abysmal. I thought he needed to get fired too, but it sucks. Third head coach in 5 years. It's embarrassing, but it is what it is.
It's crazy. So do you for this season do should we place so much blame on him? And I'm not trying to take him off the hook. I don't think he should have been hired. The press conference was amazing.
Yeah, I mean that press conference, I was ready to run through a wall.
But do you think this season is solely on him? I mean, between COVID and then all of the injuries and things, do you think this season was on him?
No, I don't. I don't think he got the. I think him being fired is more about, if you're firing the GM, you might as well clean house altogether.
Hmm.
The Giants the last few years have gotten this process of mismatching head coach and GM. Uh,
Okay.
get Dave Gettleman, I think, should have been fired when they fired Pat Shermer, so you could start
Yeah.
fresh,
Yeah.
because Judge kind of got right off the bat, didn't have the best situation being hired by a GM on the hot seat. So plus, I mean, it's not an excuse, but the Giants' injuries was crazy this year. I think we had the most guys on IR in the entire league. So, but at the end of the day, they couldn't even field like a competitive offense the last month of the year. We're running QB sneaks on second down in our own territory. We can't even throw the ball. We're just running it on. It was embarrassing. At the end of the day, you got to field some sort of competitive offense. That's why I kind of think he had to go. It's not all his fault, but it is what it is.
I mean, I think I told everyone this year, excuse me, out of every part of the team this year, I think the defense I think was the was the best part of our team this year.
Well, I mean, Patrick Graham's a good defensive coordinator, and that's Judge hired. That's another thing about Judge. I think Jason Garrett got forced on him, and apparently he wanted to get rid of him last year, and ownership didn't want that. So I think that's another thing that kind of screwed him over. He didn't get to run his own offense, but he didn't get the fairest shake in the world. But it just didn't make any sense to keep him right now. So
Yeah, it's crazy, and I don't know what the Giants are doing from the top. But like I said, the Maras for the most part have been a good owners for the most part. I mean, the whole Tom Coughlin thing I think I think they totally screwed it on that. And how do you feel about when they got rid of Tom Coughlin?
I thought it was time. I mean, Tom Coughlin's what 12 years as head coach. He could have got fired 3, 4 times, and every time he would win the Super Bowl. And it just got to the point where it's like, I mean, 3, 6 and 10 years in a row, whatever it was. I thought it was time to move on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they did it in the best way, but at that time I thought it was the right move to move on from Coughlin. I mean, hindsight's 2020. Probably should have kept him for another year or two, but at the time I thought it was time. It was just too much losing. At that time, it was too much losing. That was 6 years ago, and we're still losing. So
Yeah. So, I mean, at this point, is it? Let me go here. Do you think Daniel Jones is the answer? I don't, and I'll just say this: I don't think that he's the best quarterback, but I don't think he's the worst either.
I
But
mean,
at this point, with the neck injury, I
right.
think I would kind of move on from him. So,
The
what?
neck injury is an X factor because I don't. I mean, some people think it could be career ending. I don't put any stock in that until I actually hear
Mm,
that from somebody. But personally, I like Daniel Jones. I don't think he's like the best quarter. He's not a Justin Herbert. He's not going to be the best quarterback in the league. But I don't know. I mean, I think he got screwed by that offense. He went. My thing with Daniel Jones is he went from 24 touchdowns in 14 games his rookie year,
hmm
and then all of a sudden they hired Jason Garrett, and he throws 21 total in 2 years. I just think I haven't looked enough into the quarterbacks into the draft coming this year, but I think you should run it back with him one more time with a real offensive coordinator, a good offense, and see
hmm
what he can do. Because I personally still believe he could be a good quarterback. I don't want to, extend his 5th-year option or anything like that, but I don't think running it back with him one more time would be the worst thing in the world.
No, I don't. I don't think so either. Because I mean, coming out of the draft, I think is the best option is Pitt's quarterback, Pickett.
Yeah, I haven't looked, but from what I hear, it's not a good quarterback draft. And the last thing I want to do is pick a quarterback just for the sake of picking a quarterback. Make sure he's actually worth, taking.
Yeah, because I
Otherwise,
mean,
build the line, build the defense, do what you got to do, and just run it back with Daniel Jones. If it doesn't work out, then you figure out quarterback next year.
yeah, and I think next year would be a much better class. I mean, I don't know if what's the name, Stetson from Georgia,
Mhm.
and Young from Alabama. I don't know if they're coming out. I wasn't impressed by either one of them.
Right.
It just happened to be a pretty decent, championship game until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're coming out next year. But I don't know what to do. So as far as some of the things that I've been seeing online is, everyone's screaming about go after Russell Wilson,
I,
and
I
and I think it's the dumbest thing ever because I'm
I'm
like,
pretty
if
against
the
that.
if the line isn't good, bringing in a mobile quarterback, I don't think he's done, but I think he's closer to being on the downside of his career.
Yeah. I mean, Russell Wilson wants out of Seattle because they don't have a good offensive line, and then we got probably a worse one. So, and then you're gonna have to trade probably the 2 first-round picks, which you don't want to do. He's on a big money deal. He'll take up most of our cap space. He's only got 2 more years on his deal. He's 32. It just doesn't make sense to me to do it right now.
Yeah, and that's how I feel. And I'm seeing that every little blog here and there. Oh, we should give up all of this capital, and I'm like, you're giving up all of it. On one hand, I'm seeing some blogs saying we don't have enough, I guess, skill position players, and I
Yeah.
think that we do.
Well,
Between Tony, Ingram, whether he stays or goes, Barkley. I think Barkley deserves another year because coming back from that type of injury, it takes
right.
about a year to fully.
My thing with Barkley, I don't think there's any way you could re-sign him. I don't just paying running backs now it doesnn't work. Every year, the only one that it works for is Derrick Henry, but he's a different breed. So
Yeah. Is a linebacker playing running back.
yeah, I mean, and him and like a guy like Jonathan Taylor, they completely transform your offense. But Barkley hasn't been Barkley in 2 years at this point, and you can't pay him. If you could get a good draft pick for him, second, third rounder, I'd probably do it at this point. Just cut ties.
Yeah, but
I,
if they do that, I hope they send him far away. Please don't keep him close and
oh no, get him to the AFC.
send him to the Bills. Send him,
But
somewhere up
if
there.
if it, if that doesn't work out, then that's another guy. I'll run it back with Barkley for 1 more year and then just cut ties after. He's still a valuable piece to have. You could run, but I'm kind of done with him too. I'm done with a lot of guys. Ingram, I'm done with. It's just 5 years of waiting for Ingram to become a star. Just it's not working. So
Yeah, but would you trade him or would you Ingram? I'm talking about. Would you trade him or just let him go at this point?
I think the time to trade him has passed a while ago. So I think he's a free agent now. So
And
I think, and you know what? I think he'll be a good player wherever he goes. But I just think the Giants, it's not going to work out. We've we've crossed that bridge way too many times.
And then what about? I mean, what about Shepard? I think he's a free agent this year, also.
No, he's got I think 1 or 2 years left, and because the Giants' cap situation is so bad, they had to keep restructuring contracts. We can't
Okay.
even really cut him without taking a financial hit. So he'll probably be on the team, but he's another guy you can't. I mean, I like Shepard. He's the longest tenured Giant, which is crazy to say, but when he's on the field, he's good, but he just can't. He's hurt. He's always hurt.
Yeah, I mean, and being that we have so many players getting injured, is that more on the training staff, or is that just like happenstance at this point?
I think it's just I don't think you can't predict injuries. I
Mm.
mean they were good with injuries last year. They weren't this year. It's just kind of year by year. Sometimes you get lucky. This year we got killed, but no, I don't think it's on the training staff completely. I just think it's you know it happens. People get hurt.
And the only reason I ask that, because like I said earlier, I'm in the DC area, and I know
Mhm.
when Washington was going through all of their injuries and stuff, they kind of cleaned house and got rid of all of the training staff. And like you said, you can't predict injuries. I don't know how much they can do in the training room and on the training tables and
Yeah.
stuff like that to prevent it.
I
But
mean, maybe there is. I don't know enough about it. I mean, the Giants had Ronnie Barnes has been the Giants trainer since the '80s. So, and I
mm,
don't see them cutting ties with him unless he wants to leave. But I don't know. I think that's more or less just getting unlucky with injuries.
okay. So then, with the coaching, with this coaching search, who
Hmm.
would who would be your idea candidate?
Well, I haven't even I seen Flores tossed around, and I don't hate that idea. I think I don't know how Miami fired him, but I think he's a good head coach. I haven't really looked as much into the head coaches. I've been kind of looking at the GM candidates they're interviewing right now.
Mhm.
I'm still looking at them. It's tough to pick a GM candidate though. It's just
So what is your take? Because it seems like from like again from the blogs and things that I'm reading, it
right.
seems like it's a 50-50 split on Riddick. What is your take on Riddick?
I don't want Riddick. He's a he's an analyst. I want a guy who's been in the front office, been working. I don't want and I Riddick's good. I like listening to him, but he's also had some. He wanted Dwayne Haskins 2 years ago. He called him better. He called him the best quarterback in that class. I don't want to hire someone who's been in a front office. I like all the guys that are actually interviewing. I think they put together. I wrote a blog the other day comparing this GM search to when they hired Gettleman, and
Okay.
it's radically different. They had the only people they interviewed last time were Gettleman, Mark Ross, who was in the front office, Kevin Abrams, who was the interim GM, and Louis Riddick. So this, at least they're going completely outside the building. It's not all in-house, which I think is completely necessary for this team right now.
Yeah, because I see seeing some of the craziest thing, and I understand that social media is social media, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
Right.
But I see a lot of people, they say they want somebody in the front office, but then they're saying, "Oh, let's try somebody new." And then when the Giants, I think, reached out to the guy from Baltimore, I can't remember his name right now.
Joe Horwitz, I think his name is.
Yeah, and then fans are losing their mind, and I'm just like, all right, if you want somebody established, I'm like Gettleman was established, and and look
Well, the
what.
thing with Gettleman, I mean, because Gettleman at the time, listen, I like the Gettleman hire too because I like the idea of the Giants' way of hiring guys who've been with the organization. But
Mm.
I mean, the Giants' organization is a dumpster fire, so I don't want anyone who's been associated with that to run the team anymore. So, but yeah, Gettleman was established, and he took the Panthers to the Super Bowl as a GM. So that's why I was like, it seems like a no brainer. But obviously, he rubs a lot of people the wrong way. So it was time for him. It was time for him to go 2 years ago. So I'm happy that we cleaned the slate with him finally.
So in terms so for the head coaches, do you think we need more of a defensive head coach or offensive head coach?
I don't care what we. I just want a good head coach. You know what I mean? I have no preference. I like the idea of Judge being a CEO head coach where he wasn't a coordinator. He kind of just oversaw everything.
Okay.
And I don't know. It'll always kind of be like if Judge got a chance to hire his own offensive guy, maybe it would have worked out. But I don't care. I just want I want a leader. I want somebody who could lead this team, whether it's a play caller, whether it's a CEO, whether it's offense, defensive guy. I don't care. I just want to win. I'm so sick of it.
So, but I mean, like with Flores, I don't. I would like Flores, and I'm with you. When I saw that, Miami let him go, it was kind of a head scratcher. I'm like, he won
Right.
9 games with Tua as his quarterback.
Yeah.
He was a terrible quarterback.
I'm not a big Tua guy either.
But I'm like, if he can win 9 games with Tua, I'm like, imagine what he can do with the actual quarterback,
Mhm.
like Daniel Jones, in the system. But with you know with Flores interviewing for the Chicago job, which
Right.
honestly I don't think would be a bad job because you have a sort of established defense. Khalil Mack and everybody coming back next year.
Yeah, I could see that working out. I mean, that's the other thing with the Giants are taking their time on their GM interviews, which I think is a good thing. I want to make sure you hire the right guy, but I mean, there's a potential you lose out on some head coaching candidates because they're probably not. I saw, I think Giant Insider said they're probably not going to decide on the GM until late next week. So, but I mean, it is what it is. But I'd rather them get the right guy at GM because that's the most important thing right now. Get somebody
Yeah,
who can pull
and
this
you
team
want
out of the hole we've dug ourselves.
Yeah, and you want the GM to be in place. So, like you said, we're not having mismatched pieces in
Right.
terms of the
That was
GM
the
and the
biggest
coach.
thing. Yeah. I mean, I was pretty pissed off when they didn't fire Judge right away. I mean, they did it a day late, but they got it done. So hire the GM, let the GM pick his head coach. Those guys are then hand in hand for hopefully a long time.
And but do you think that we should go possibly the college route and looking
I
for a
don't
head coach?
I don't love the only college coach that I would be interested in is Harbaugh because he's done it in the NFL. But
Hmm.
I don't like even a couple years ago with I was never a Matt Rule guy when they were looking at him.
No.
It just didn't make. I don't. No, I want somebody who's in the NFL who knows how to build an NFL program. You know, I'm not a big college guy. No, Harbaugh definitely would interest me though. To be honest with you, four straight NFC championships with the Niners. He was always a good coach. So he's a little crazy, but I don't know. Maybe the Giants need a little crazy.
I'm about saying he would fit right in New York.
He would. He's good with the media. He's nuts. He would shake this team up, which I like. But like I said, I haven't really come up with a list of head coaching candidates. I'm still kind of looking at the list of GM candidates to decide who I want the most. Right now, I do like that guy from Baltimore, Joe Horowitz.
I mean, I think that would be good only because seeing Baltimore's track record, and I know a lot of that falls back on Ozzie Newsome.
Right.
But if this guy's been in the system underneath Ozzie Newsome, maybe
Hmm.
he picked up some things
Right.
that would
And
translate well to New York.
the Ravens are one of those organizations where even when they're bad, they're not. Their bad is 8-8, 7 or not 8-8, 8-9 now because of
Hmm.
the extra game. But teams like that, when like the Steelers, they haven't had a losing season in what 16 years. Like even when they're bad, they're still a competitive team that wins games. That's what I want. The Giants. I mean, they couldn't even field an offense the last month of the year. That's what I mean with Judge. Like you got to get something out of your guys, not what we put on the field.
And I didn't understand. So, well, I'll say this: what do you think about the backup quarterbacks? I mean, do you think Fromm as a backup? Do you think Fromm would be a good backup to keep? Because I'm totally done with Glennon
Yeah,
or
no,
Glennon.
From is not an NFL quarterback. I mean, I saw enough out of him in the couple of games he played. I think you got to get a good backup. I don't think you need to spend crazy money on the backup quarterback like people say.
Hmm.
Like I don't think the Marcus Mariota type, but I mean, we should have kept Colt McCoy. I wanted to keep Colt McCoy this year. He got the job done last year. I know it wasn't. He didn't. He wasn't the reason we won the game in Seattle, but he did his job.
And that's all you need is more or less a placeholder. And Glennon is done. I've been a From fan since I was a QB1 on Netflix.
Right.
you know that's how I found out about Justin Fields too. So I was just excited to see him
Right.
get a shot. But I think he'll just end up being a journeyman, sort of like Glennon.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, I didn't think Glennon was as bad. He was bad, yeah, but I, it's just a bad last month of the year. And it's a shame too, because they fired Garrett, which I wanted. And I thought with Kitchens, maybe Jones could have a strong end to the year. Maybe we could have had a shot at the playoffs. Who knows? But it was a bad end to a bad season.
So in this upcoming draft, which way do you think we should start out? I mean, because we have pretty good, excuse me, pretty good picks.
Right.
And I'm just crushed that we fumbled it so bad last year and missing out on Parsons and
Right. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I heard some things about Parsons where he's bad off the field, but obviously he's a beast. But I wanted Slater too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hate the trade back. I mean, you got an extra first round pick, but that's Gettleman's nice parting gift. He gave us a good couple draft picks to start out with for the new GMs. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think obviously the Giants need to build their offensive line. I mean, it's been 10 years of trying to build an offensive line. It looks like Andrew Thomas is a good piece.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't know about Gates coming back because even him the other day said he has no idea when he's going to be back. So pretty much every position on the offensive line besides left tackle, you got to look to get somebody.
Um, what about Hernandez? Is Hernandez a free agent or is he?
Yeah, he's a free agent, and I'd bring him. You could bring him back in a cheap money deal, but I don't know if you could. He had a bad year too. I actually liked Hernandez. I thought he was. I don't know if he was lived up to his second round pick, but he was always solid. He was always there. He didn't miss a lot of games. Played well enough, but I don't know if you. I don't know if sign him. He had a bad year too. You know what I mean? It's like the only position on the offensive line you can count right now is Andrew Thomas.
So what? So do you? So do you think we should spend our first two picks? Yeah, our first two picks in the first round because I'm not sure exactly what order we're drafting in. I'm assuming we're in the top 10 with a former.
We got the fifth pick and the eighth pick, I believe.
Okay, so do you think that we should spend those two high round picks on linemen or?
I'm always I my thing with the draft is I don't like saying a position because I don't know who the guys are. You
Mhm.
just don't, I don't think you should just draft. It's the same thing like with drafting a quarterback to draft a quarterback. I don't think you should draft any position just because you need it. I think you
Yeah.
got to match it up with the best player available.
Mhm.
I think you got to do that in relation to positional need. But if you're talking about our biggest need, yeah, I mean, offensive line is clearly the biggest need on this team. So another edge rusher would be nice, but Ojolari looks pretty solid. Lorenzo Carter had a strong end to the year. I don't
Mhm.
know what they're going to do with him, but offensive line I think is obviously the biggest need on this team.
But I mean, I think when it comes to offensive linemen, like I said, I'm no expert at this
Right.
because I'm like you, I don't know a whole lot about the interior linemen on either side of the ball, really.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to the offensive lineman, I think that you can find a good piece, second, third round, whatever the case is. I mean, and I hope the Giants, go out and look at Nebraska, look at those,
Yeah.
look out there. Don't necessarily keep your focus on Big Ten and things like that. Go well. I think Nebraska is in the Big Ten, but look at
I know you.
Purdue, Nebraska. Look at those
Right.
offense get some big offense.
I've heard some about the Bama tackle, Evan Neal, I think is his name. A lot of people are saying they should take him. I don't know. The draft is so many months. We're gonna know about guys we've never heard of in 2 months. So we'll see what happens. And a quarterback will shoot up the board. It's gonna be fun because they're definitely in play for a quarterback if they want one.
Yeah, just I'm gonna have to do my research to see what
Right.
other
Me too. I don't
quarterbacks.
have any big takes on the draft right now because it's just so early.
Okay, so then is so in your so well I'll ask this. So would a Eric Bieniemy or someone like that would that be what do you think that would be a good fit or do you think bringing in somebody like him an offensive minded coach would sort of be a bad fit only because our offensive line isn't there as yet and he would end up getting screwed in the long run because the offense isn't.
Well, I think whoever you hire a head coach, you have to just be patient with at this point because his team, the offense needs to be rebuilt from pretty much the ground up. And I mean, I think people would have been more patient with Judge if the year didn't end how it ended, if Gettleman wasn't still here. Gettleman, that's what I mean. Now that we have a new GM, new head coach, I think people will be more patient.
Mhm.
But Bieniemy, he gets interviewed every year. I don't know why he hasn't gotten. He must not interview well. I don't know why people don't hire him. But
Mhm.
yeah, like I said, I just want the right guy. I'll take Bieniemy to if our offense looks anything like the Chiefs, I'll be happy. So
It's about being patient, and as we see, it's not like although the Cowboys had a good year, it's not like the NFC East is the NFC East of old,
no, it's not.
where
We
yeah,
almost made the playoffs last year at 6-10. What do we?
and then I mean, like I say, we look at the Cowboys, and you'll say, Yes, they won, was it 13, 12 games, whatever it is,
Hmm.
and did not beat one team with 10 wins. So it just shows you that.
Right. It's well, yeah, they went 6-0 in the NFC East, which is not saying much. And but yeah, I just think patience is going to be key with this new regime. Hopefully, they can turn around quick, but it's not. I don't know if it's going to happen right away. Which I don't even like saying myself. I think we can, if they do it the right way, win more games next year.
Mhm.
But it's going to be interesting. I just think everyone needs to be patient because if the Giants finally cleaned house, they're finally going outside the building, they're finally getting an outside voice, and I'm going to let that guy or whoever they hire
Mhm.
rebuild the team, hopefully fast. But if it takes a little bit of time, I'll give him some patience. And that sounds hypocritical because I just in Judge's second year I was saying to fire him, but I'm circumstances are different with this one.
So with Judge, and then I'll leave Judge alone after this. But do you
Right.
think that he was in sort of over his head? You know, bringing coming in as from being a special teams or positions coach straight to a head coach of an organization like the Giants? Because for all of the down years that we've had, the Giants in terms of organization are up there as far as with the Pittsburghs, the
Right.
Cowboys, and things like that. Do you think he was over his head?
Um, it's tough to say because I don't. The whole thing with Judge, where I think he got screwed a lot, is not being allegedly not being able to hire his own offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Because if you look at the defense, he hired Patrick Graham, and the defense was big, you know, good for 2 years, really.
Hmm.
Maybe not statistically wise this year, but um, I think he was a good leader. I think he was good with the media. I think he was good with the media until he went on that rant. What was that, 2, 3 weeks ago? But I don't know. Maybe he was a little over his head. It's tough because I'd like to know his role in the offense. Was that his offense or was that Garrett's offense?
Hmm.
Because I just think the offense was poor, and I think his in-game coaching wasn't the best. He
Okay.
was awful with timeouts. He was a little conservative. I think he might not have been completely ready, but I do think he can be a head coach in the future. I think he's a good leader, but he might have been a little bit over his head. Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as the quarterbacks go, and I don't know why this just popped in my head.
Right.
Thinking now the guy from Baltimore, I think would may be a good fit because the one thing that I was telling my wife, who actually knows football, so
Right.
our conversations get very serious and deep.
I'm sure they do.
But I like what Baltimore does in terms of Lamar Jackson goes down, the backup skill wise has the same
Very
skill
similar.
set.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like they have to completely change the offense to fit the backup.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. I like that too. And like I said earlier, Baltimore's just one of the like they lost their quarterback and they're still they lost their last 4 games, but they lost them all by 2 points. They're competing with backup quarterbacks. We can't even run an offense with a backup quarterback. I think a lot of that comes down to coaching. You just need competent coaching. That's why that's a big reason why I think Judge needed to go. He just didn't good. I think good coaches. You see how good coaches are in situations like the Giants had, where they had to roll with a backup quarterback, and
Hmm.
uh, we didn't do anything. We couldn't do anything. So
Okay. So then, in terms of the team, I know we said we hope they win more games next year.
right.
But are we setting the bar so low? I mean, we won four this year, so
I
next
mean
year, what would
the
a good team
bar
be?
as a fan, I'm an idiot. I'm nuts. I'm gonna expect them to win every game. I'm gonna be pissed when they lose, but I don't know. I just need to see improvement. I don't know if it's a total win total.
Mhm.
It's hopefully get to 500, close to around there. I mean, the division's bad. If they get the right draft picks in there, if they run free agency correctly, they could compete. Why not? And I don't really have a bar. I just want to see some sort of improvement. I want to feel like we're going in the right direction. Like obviously with the last couple of years, you don't have any confidence in this team when
Mhm.
you watch them. They go down 10 points and it's insurmountable for them to
Yeah,
come back. And I just want to feel like the team's going in the right direction. Like we have a lot of pieces in place, and I just don't feel like we have any of that right now.
yeah, true. So with this being the opening weekend for the playoffs, what are you know what are some matchups that you're interested in seeing?
Uh, the Raiders Bengals, I think, is going to be a really good. I think a lot. I kind of think the Raiders are going to win today because if you look at the Raiders and Bengals, they're kind of the same team. They have very similar offenses. They're both top 10 offenses. Their defenses aren't bad, but they're not great.
Hmm.
They both got guys that can get after the quarterback. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think I think the Raiders come out though. I think it's going to be an upset. And then I like the Bills Pats tonight too. I think the two games today might be the best of the whole weekend. And I like the Bills over the Pats, even though I know it's going to be cold weather in Buffalo again. So I'm sure the Pats will try to run it down their throat like they did. Was that like a month ago? But
Yeah,
we'll see.
and then I like the Raiders Bengals game too, and I think if the Raiders go in there and I don't know if actually pressing or blitzing Burrow a lot is going to be a good thing because you have
Yeah.
Jamar Chase on the outside, you have Mixon on the outside. It's
Yeah.
just you know I think that can be a lot. I think that's a toss up game. I like the
Yeah.
Bengals in that one.
Yeah, it's the Bengals are good, you know what I mean? It's just I don't know. I got a feeling about the Raiders. I think they've just been through so much this year. They battled through so much. They're coming off that game with the Chargers which was unbelievable. Then the
The,
Bengals, they sat everyone, which I never like. I don't like
yeah,
when people I'm not a fan of that. Maybe it's because of the whole Giants Patriots thing back in 07 because it worked out for us, but I don't like when guys completely sit. Like you see the Packers, they're probably the best team in the NFL right now. At
mhm,
least Rodgers played the first half.
yeah.
The Bengals just sat everyone, which I didn't like at all. So I think the Raiders got a lot of momentum coming into this game, and I just think, like I said, they're similar teams, and I think the Raiders are going to go in and upset the Bengals today.
And I have a soft spot for Carr, so
You like
so
Carr? I like Carr too. He's one of those guys that's just consistently good.
and I think not to take anything away from the Raiders, but I think the Chargers totally gave that game away. I'm not sure
Yeah, I
what
mean,
the coach was doing, but not to take anything from the Raiders, but
right? The Chargers probably should be in the playoffs right now. And if this was Chargers Bengals, I'd probably say the Chargers would win this one too.
oh yeah, yeah, I would definitely go with the Chargers. So I'll ask this about an NFC East team, and then before we get out of here. So what are your takes on the or take on the Cowboys and 49ers game? Because I think that's more of a toss up game also.
Yeah,
I don't believe in the Cowboys, like everybody else does.
no, I was looking at stuff for the games yesterday, and if you look statistically, the Niners defense is, you hear all about the Cowboys defense this year because of Parsons and Diggs, but statistically, the Niners defense is better than the Cowboys.
Hmm.
Their offense could compete with anybody really. I know Jimmy G. People don't believe in Jimmy G, but he did it 2 years ago. He got them to the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
So I think the Niners are going to beat the Cowboys too. Maybe that's my bias coming out because obviously I'm a Giant fan, but I think that'll be a close one. But I do think the Niners are going to beat Dallas and because Dallas never wins in the playoffs anyway.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I picked the Niners on that one too, just because Diggs. I mean, one stat that I saw, I said the reason that Diggs has so many interceptions, it says because somebody's always throwing at him. They
Yeah,
said if you look at Deion Sanders and stuff, they said the most picks he's had in 1 year was 8.
right.
So I'm like,
Well,
so that just
I
shows you he was scared to
I
throw to
think
his
there's a
side.
stat on Diggs too. It's like, yeah, he leads the league in picks, and it's impressive. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's given up like the most yards too in the air. So I mean, it's like he's kind of like a hit or miss guy. He either picks it off or it's a touchdown for the other team.
Yeah,
So
so
I don't know. I think the Niners are one of the best coached. I think Shanahan's one of the best coaches in the league too. So I think they're going to be ready to roll in Dallas, and I think they'll beat the Cowboys. Philly though, I don't think there's a chance in hell that Philly beats Tampa Bay.
I mean, I give them a chance. I'm not a Brady fan,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I
I
give
don't know.
I give them a chance. I think if they stick to their game plan, I think
Mm.
they will be okay in terms of running.
Yeah,
I
Tampa's
understand.
got a great run defense. I just don't think that. I don't even think Philly should be in the playoffs. They beat a bunch of backup quarterbacks for a month, and this is 100% my bias coming out because I hate Philly. Uh, I It pisses me off that they're in the playoffs. I can't believe they are, but I think Tampa's gonna wipe. I heard the weather tomorrow is supposed to be like a monsoon though in Tampa, so I don't know if that favors Philly a little bit more, but I still don't think Brady's gonna lose to the Eagles.
No, I don't see it, but I'm hoping for it just to get Brady out of there because
Yeah, you hate Brady that much that you'd rather the Eagles win than him,
I mean the Eagles are gonna lose in the
right?
playoffs somewhere. I
Yeah.
would just rather Brady be out just to see Skip Bayless's head blow up on
Oh yeah,
TV.
Skip.
So, but in terms, so for the Super Bowl, who are your Super Bowl picks?
I actually did this yesterday. I actually like the Bills to win it all this year. I think they're just the complete package. I think They have a top 5 defense. Their offense is off the hook. I think, the last couple of years they've been getting closer and closer. They were in the AFC Championship last year, and I think they could beat anyone. I think it's going to be a Bills-Packers Super Bowl with the Bills coming out on top.
That would be a good. That would be a very good, Super Bowl matchup. At least
Yeah,
one that people want to see.
right. And I'd love to. I think it'd be awesome for Buffalo to win. Especially, back in the day, they lost 4 in a row, and they went through so many years of not being good. I think that city would light on fire if they won the Super Bowl. A lot of tables getting people going through.
Oh yeah, Bills Mafia.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's the last question for you before we get out of here. So then excuse me, with Pittsburgh, what it,
Mhm.
I don't like them being in the playoffs.
Right. I
But,
mean,
but
yeah, they probably don't deserve it either. But that's the thing. When they put that 7th wild card team in, you knew there was going to be a team in there that's not exactly one of the best teams. I think it's cool. Pittsburgh's in. Big Ben has a chance. I don't think they're going to beat Kansas City, but I think it's a nice little story. At least you get, one last run for Big Ben. Big Ben. But I don't see them going anywhere. No, I think the Chiefs. That's the Chiefs and the Bucks. I think are the biggest locks of the weekend.
yeah, so I mean, hopefully, like I said, we want to see, and like I said, it would be interesting to see, like I said, the Raiders just to kind
Right.
of stay on this magical run since Gruden,
Yeah.
has been gone, just to see them keep going.
I don't even. I don't even. I don't even hate them against the Titans. I almost picked them to beat the Titans too, to be honest with you. But I don't know. Derrick Henry's coming back, so I think that's going to be a huge boost for the Titans.
I think it'll be a huge boost, but first game back, I
Yeah,
think
that's true.
I think they were saving him. I think he could have possibly maybe came back the last game of the season,
Yeah,
but maybe they were saving him for the playoffs. But first game back, like I said, football is one of those sports where you can't simulate being hit and
yeah,
things
no,
like
you got
that.
to take
So
the. And it's been a while since he took hits. Yeah, I just think I don't know. I don't love the Titans either. I just think they'll beat the Raiders, and I think the Bills will beat the Titans. Bills Chiefs in the divisional round, I think might be the best matchup of all the playoffs. I think that's going to be a good one. I think the Bills come out on top though.
most definitely. All right. So again, I appreciate you joining me this evening. Please let the people know where they can find you, or this evening, this morning, where where they can find you or find your work.
Yeah, so I post all my tweets on my Twitter, which is capital JF, so J Farrell 0414. I give my takes on it. It's pretty much all Giants. I give my takes on the Giants. I post my blogs there. I write 2 blogs a week, like I said earlier. Uh, yeah, if you guys are interested, give it a read. I'm just a fan talking about the Giants, so that's all it is.
Hey, that's what we need. That's what we need. The pundits, the Skip Baylesses, and all
Yeah,
that. We don't need to hear them all the time because we're biased because we're Giants fans, but we're
right.
realistic.
Yeah, no, I don't. I just write what I feel. It is what it is. It's nothing special, but I like doing it. I try to write an interesting blog. So yeah, if you want to read about the Giants, come look at my stuff.
All right. So again, Mr. James Farrell, I do appreciate your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It was a good
Oh, no
conversation.
problem. No, definitely. I'll definitely bring you back. We could definitely talk some more Giants as we get closer to the draft.
Absolutely. Sounds good to me.
All right. You have yourself a good day. And this is We Need to Talk 23 is signing off. Thank you.
You got it.